roll. Thank you. Pam, did we lose you? Did we lose Pam? Looks like maybe we lost Pam. Let's give her a second.
Yeah, let me send her a text.
I just lost connection, so I apologize. My internet decided to cut me off.
Okay. We are ready for you to call the roll.
Okay. Commissioners Cavell.
Here in Ferndale.
Thank you. Howell.
Here in White Lake Township.
McGillivray.
Here, Madison Heights.
Powell.
Here, Pontiac.
Charles.
Present in Southfield.
Long.
Here, Commerce Township.
Moss. Commissioner Moss, are you there? Oh, he got kicked off. Okay, we're taking turns. Okay, Markham.
Here in Novi.
Madam Chair, you do have a quorum.
Cool. Okay, thank you. So next order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's all please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everyone. Next order of business is approval of the minutes of, previous meetings. We just had a catastrophe. And I just want to point out to the newer members that last year because of the pandemic, in the later part of the year, we had combined the Finance Committee and the Infrastructure and Economic Development Committee. So those minutes reflect that committee as it was meeting then. So are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, we need a motion to approve the minutes. Commissioner Long, supported by Commissioner Kowal. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. The motion's carried. The minutes are approved. Next up is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes or corrections to the agenda? So I'm going to add an item under at the end, other business, an update from the IT department on our status on our vaccine website. I need somebody to, do I make that motion or does somebody else?
Usually somebody else, but I was just gonna, was wondering if it would be best to put it on the regular agenda or no? If there's questions or not, or if it's just an informational thing.
You tell me where it fits best. I'm new at this.
Well, I know we did an update on vaccines and we allowed questions, so it took a little bit of time, but it's up to you ultimately.
Well, if it makes sense to make it item number 4 on the regular agenda, that's fine too. Somebody want to make a motion? Member Kowal, supported by Mr. McGillivray. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. Opposed? say nay. Okay, now we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. I need a motion. Member Charles, supported by Member McGilvery. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I want to step in here for just a moment and thank our staff member, Pam Worthington, for helping me with the order here. She's been a very good coach. Okay, we're going to, at this point, move on to public comment. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the committee?
Good afternoon. There are currently no people in the auditorium or committee room A. There's no one on the line for calls, and there are no written submissions, so there's no public comment today.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the committee? Seeing none, I will close public comment. And next we have the communications. So we need a motion to receive and file communications A through F. Mr. McGilvery, supported by Commissioner Kowal. Let's see, where are we? Any discussion on that? All in favor of the communications, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we move on to the regular agenda. Our first item is the Water Resources Commissioner transfer of the county's interest in easements and rights of way to the Charter Township of Highland Water Supply System. It's a report from John Bash, who will be our presenter. Good morning, Mr. Bash.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Just one, Madam Chair, point of order, just a motion for the item.
Okay, I need a motion. Member Kowal, supported by Member Long.
Thank you. My name is John Batch. I'm the senior attorney for the Office of the Water Resources Commissioner. This is pretty much a housekeeping matter, something we've done before. I have with me Tim Prince. He's an engineer and our chief manager who can answer any questions that you might have. And there's a brief presentation that will allow you to have some background information about what this does. At that point, I'll turn it over to Mr. Prince.
Good afternoon. I'll give you a little bit of background. Oakland County has a contract with the Highland Township to operate and maintain a drinking water system owned by the township. Most of the properties in the township, or about 80% of them, have private wells for drinking water. And then the rest of the township, which is about 3,900 retail customers, are supplied drinking water through the Highland Township municipal water system. In 2001, the county, through the Water Resource Commissioner, sold bonds and constructed some water and system improvement projects for the township. The standard protocol for these types of projects is to secure all the property and the easements in the county's name while the bonds are being paid off. Once the bonds are paid off, the property and easements are typically transferred back to the local community. So as John mentioned, this is essentially a housekeeping matter. The bonds for this project were paid off late last year. So now the property needs to be transferred to Highland Township, the owner of the municipal system. So if you have any questions, I would be glad to try and answer them for you.
Thank you, Mr. Prince. Mr. Moss.
No budgetary impact to the
No.
county?
None.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moss. Commissioner Charles?
Yes, I just wanted to be clear, this went before the Economic Development Committee already?
Yes,
Yes.
this is exactly the same item. Any items which have budgetary impact or deal with money that go through another committee, then come through this one.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. Anyone else have any other comments or questions? Okay. With that, will you please call the roll?
Yes, number 1, Commissioners Coel,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Commissioner Powell,
Yeah.
Charles,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Cavell,
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. All right, at this moment, I want to ask Mr. Moss to please tell us your location because you missed the roll call part of that.
Yeah, for some reason it went down and I was running around connecting things. I am in Birmingham, Michigan.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next item of business is item number 2, the Treasurer's Office Board of Commissioners approval to waive interest and fees for certain qualifying taxpayers through April 30th, 2021. I need a motion. Commissioner Charles, supported by Commissioner McGilvray. Do we have Jody Defoe here?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Oh, there you are in the middle of my screen. Okay. Super. Good morning, Ms. Defoe.
Hi, good morning. Happy New Year to everyone and welcome to our new commissioners to the committee. It's nice to see you all virtually. This is a resolution that does come annually before this committee. And it's to, let me just kind of back up and give you a little bit of background on the tax foreclosure process or the general property tax process. So each year, current taxes are collected by the local treasurer. During that process, there is a notification on the local tax bills that tells taxpayers if they, maybe need some additional time, there is an option if they fit criteria of the statute to request a deferment. That deferment can be extended through the current tax year and payable to the local treasurer through the end of February, or it can transfer over to the county treasurer like all delinquent taxes transfer on March 1st, and it can give them an extra 2 months interest-free to pay their summer or winter tax bill. And the statute is carved out really for a very small group of people, namely seniors, veterans, and disabled members of our communities. And it doesn't, disregard any of the taxes. It solely just prevents the delinquent tax interest from occurring those 2 months. So, there's a 4% administrative fee that's added, 1% interest. So it really potentially saves them 6% on their bill, if they need their tax return, for example, to pay their property taxes. So that's really the intent behind the statute, and that's what this request is to allow us to provide that select group of people who have already been determined by their local taxing units. It usually ranges around 300 to 400 people a year countywide. So again, it's a very, very small group of people who qualify and who have applied through their local treasurer for this exemption. Or I'm sorry, it's not an exemption, it's a deferment really. And then they get marked in our system and we, don't add the interest for those 2 months. Now, if they don't pay within those 2 months that we allow, the interest will then, be added and start incurring every month. The impact last year, for example, it was about $11,000 for 114 individuals that took advantage of this ability to use this deferment. So any questions?
Thank you.
Sure.
Does anybody have any questions? was quite a thorough description, so thanks very much. Commissioner Powell, you have a
I
question.
just wanted to tell Jody I miss her and I'm happy
Oh.
to see her. That's my friend, y'all.
It's nice to see everybody.
It is. All right, with that, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioners McGilvray,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Lon,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Cavell,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Markham.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day. All right. Next item on our agenda, item number 3 is Information Technology Communication Brokers Incorporated, contract number 004366, extension through 2022. I need a motion. Commissioner Powell, supported by Commissioner Charles. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mr. Tim.
Good afternoon, commissioners, and I would also like to welcome especially the new commissioners. I look forward to when we can meet in person again. My name is Mike Tim. I'm the IT director for Oakland County. So one of the services we provide out of IT is telephone services for within the county campus, the county complex. We also have $1 million annually that we spend on network connectivity, network communications expenses. In total, our telephone and network communications expenses are in the order of $1.7 million per year. And we have hired a company going on 6 years now that's called CBI Telecom. And there are other companies in this industry. Their main job is really to audit our telecommunications charges, our telecommunications bills. And through that audit process, quite often, as we work with these large telecommunication companies, and we work with several, obviously some of the big common names, but also several smaller providers for our network throughout the county. There are sometimes delays in turning services off. There are delays in when the bills are updated. It's a fairly common practice in the industry to have someone audit your bill for you. And the cost of their contract, which in this case is $100,000 a year, is more than covered by the savings they identify if we did not perform this audit. In our case, in 2019, we saved over $170,000 on our telecom expenses. And most of this is just delays in processing in the industry. And again, this is a very common practice. The reason this is before you today is we're recommending an extension to this contract for another year, which will be January of 2022. And the reason for that, as many of the veteran commissioners know, but for the background of the new commissioners, we are installing a new phone system at the county, a voice over IP phone system. That project is underway. And as we implement that, our telecom charges will change significantly with the new vendor, CBTS, which actually stands for the old Cincinnati Bell telephone system. They're much bigger than Cincinnati anymore, but CBTS will be handling our voice over IP telephone service. So as we do that implementation and as those bills start coming in from CBTS as we use the service, we'll need to incorporate CBTS audits into this CBI contract that is before you. So we'd like to have CBI get that built up so that we can then do an RFP with a little bit of a steady state And that's the reason for the request. We'll do the RFP. That's in our plan to do next year. But that requires that we extend this contract for another year beyond the board recommended 5-year period. So if there's any questions on any of that, I'd be happy to answer them.
Anyone have any questions? I only have one question. So eventually the phone, this communication broker's contract will be gone because the phone system that they were auditing will no longer be in operation, or are they going to move on and do our new system as well?
We would expect, we will issue an RFP in probably the fourth quarter of 2020, the fourth calendar quarter. And that RFP would go out to multiple vendors that provide this service. We would expect CBI would again bid on it, but at that point it would be through the normal procurement process of an open bid.
Okay, thank you. No other questions? Ms. Worthington, please call the roll.
Okay, on item number 3, Commissioners Powell,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
okay, I heard a beep. Lon,
Yes.
Moss,
Yes.
Cavell,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
McGillivray,
Yes.
Markham.
Yes,
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
great. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, so the last item on our agenda, our regular agenda, is item number 4, which we just added, which is to have an update from Mr. Tim regarding the COVID vaccine website. So welcome again.
All right. This has been something we've been working on quite a bit the last, well, vaccines in particular, some of the IT updates, very significant work the last couple of weeks. So I apologize, I didn't prepare a written report, but because we're spending so much time on this, I've got plenty of updates for you. So first of all, as we try to reach out to the citizens and small businesses and constituents and CVTs, you know, obviously the executive office and the Board of Commissioners, there are a number of different channels where that information has gone out. And, you know, IT is not the primary, you know, source of the messaging, if you will, but often we are the main purveyor, we're the main avenue for which that message is delivered. And we experienced, especially as the state announced that we were going to do a new phase of vaccine delivery, we were literally receiving tens of thousands of calls and significant traffic to our website for people to get information about vaccines that at the moment we do not have. The current volume of vaccines in the health department, and you can see this on oaklandcountyvaccine.com. That information is updated as we receive more vaccines and as they're scheduled. When I looked yesterday, I have not looked today, but we were at 5,850, and they are either distributed or scheduled. And that's in Oakland County for the Oakland County Health Department. So obviously there are other providers in the county that are outside that scope and number. But we were experiencing issues with our website performance. So last week, Wednesday, we launched a brand new website, you know, which was basically, you didn't know, behind the scenes, the new website was really an improvement to performance so that the website would not crash. And it allowed us to provide scheduling information and information about the availability of the vaccines, et cetera. Also, the health department can continue to update with content as they receive information about vaccines. So we pulled that off of the main OakGov website, but Again, you wouldn't even know that unless you spent a fair amount of time with website technology just to help relieve that load. So that was the first thing we did on the vaccine website. The second piece
stop you
is
there for a second, Mr. Tim. So but on the main website, there is now a button that takes you directly to the website you just created. So it's seamless to the outside world.
Exactly.
Right there on the front of our main Oakland County website.
Exactly. As well as if you're familiar with we do still have on the Oakland County, the oakgov.com, there is a COVID portal and there's a portal for the health department. And we've added some buttons from those portals as well to this new vaccine site. So yes, again, it's seamless to the users. So any questions on the website information or content? So the other update that we started last week, Thursday, we also started receiving a significant number of calls.
Mr. Tim, I'm going to stop you for a second because we had two questions.
Yes, sorry, I missed
the questions and then you can keep going. Okay, so first of all, Commissioner McGilvery.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. I just wanted to make a comment that previous to this meeting, I registered myself and my wife, and it was very simple, very well done, and that's nice for us older folks that don't know how to use computers. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Cavell.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say in the Health and Safety Committee meeting we had yesterday, the health officer, Leanne Stafford, was singing your praises about how quickly y'all have been turning this around. And I can say from talking to several voters here in the district that they really appreciate what you've been doing. So thanks for all the overtime you've been putting in.
I appreciate the comment, and I will absolutely pass it on to the team. And let me also say, to paraphrase, previous comments, it takes a village. It is a huge team effort. It takes folks, from all over the county, from the executive office and the health department. And, in some cases, there are things we need the facilities team to help with. And, it's really a Herculean effort that is really countywide. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Tim, you have more that you want to share with us?
So, yes, the other big change that we implemented as, item number 3 on the agenda was about telecommunication charges. And as I mentioned, we are implementing as we speak a new voice over IP phone system for the county. And that will give us, significant flexibility in, call forwarding and voicemail, things that we have we're really have our hands tied from a technology perspective in that area, hence the upgrade. So as we got into this high demand for information about vaccines, frankly, our phone system got overwhelmed, and we were receiving tens of thousands of calls throughout the day that weren't getting answered. In fact, many times people were getting a fast busy because the trunks into the county were full, and calls could just not get through. So as of Thursday afternoon, we started building essentially a brand new call center, and we launched that yesterday afternoon. So it is live this morning. So if you go out to the websites, if you call the county switchboard number, you will get access to what was our Nurse on Call phone number, and it's 800-848-5533. That number now is routed as of yesterday afternoon to a brand new call center that we stood up in 3 days. And now we have unlimited capacity for receiving calls. We are still working with the health department. We need, if we get call volume that increases substantially, we have the capability to add more agents to receive calls. And again, in this case, many of the calls are people looking for vaccine appointments that we just can't take until we get more vaccines. So That new call center has handled, that queue is down to 0 as of the noon timeframe when I joined this committee. We've handled over 2,000 calls just this morning, most of them related to vaccine appointments. So that was another improvement that we just added to, again, help distribute information and help relieve the information so that people could get in and good answers. At the moment, the answers aren't great until we can obviously get people vaccinated, take appointments, et cetera. But it was another improvement that we added. And for those of you that didn't hear, Commissioner Kowal was asking just before the meeting, one of the features of this new call center is that as you get into the queue, you can decide that, 15 minutes is too long to wait. I'd like to have a call back. And you can type in your phone number and you will get a call back from one of our operators in the health department with the information that you need for vaccines or testing or nurse on call if you have other health related questions. So that callback feature is live. That also went live late last night. So it was just after the update that you got from Chief Deputy Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Tim. Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, seeing none. We don't have to vote on anything, right? Oh, Mr. Cavell?
Sorry about that. Just one question for you, Mr. Tim. Is it still recommended that if residents have concerns or questions about COVID, they call the 800-848-5533? That's still the best thing to do?
Yes. So in that number, option 1 will get you to scheduling for vaccines. Option 2 is schedule for COVID testing. So that's a separate function really. Option 3 will get you to nurse on call. And nurse on call, will be, you can speak with a nurse who can help answer COVID questions or other health related questions. So, but we would like people, if their question is really about vaccine availability or vaccine scheduling, those kinds of things, we would prefer that they go to the website. There will be updates there. The other nice feature on the website is you can sign up to get notified as vaccine is available and get notified to sign up for the scheduling. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell and then Commissioner Charles.
Mr. Timms, is there any way that a flyer or something can be just put out of those corrections to us so we can properly convey that to our constituents of the phone changes or whatever updated information you think is pertinent that we need to know as commissioners so that we can put that out about our new phone system? I'm just real key on us all staying on the same message and saying the same thing. So if you could produce something like that, that'd be great, per the chair, if that's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A one-pager that we can all pump out through our social media would be really, really helpful because we're getting, dozens and dozens of calls and emails. So
yes,
you.
and yes, I'll work with Deputy Chambers and the health officer, Leanne Stafford. The really good part about this is most of the face of the county to the public, most of that has not really changed. We're doing a lot of this behind the scenes. So that 800 number existed before for nurse on call. We just redirected it, to improve capacity. And the same thing with the website. Oakland County Vaccine is a new website, and you can perfectly go there. So we will improve that in the messaging standpoint. That's a good idea. But you can get there from oakgov.com. So we wanted to make sure that those standard consistent messages were already still out there and still valid.
Thank you. That's very important. Commissioner Charles.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I also was hopeful, and I thought you had addressed it, but now that I'm hearing press 1, press 2, I'm thinking it might be pertinent to mention that I did hear from some folks who don't have touch tone, and I tested it, and attempted to wait for whatever prompt would come following the 1, 2, and the 3, and actually it just continues to start over. So I was hoping you guys could perhaps test that in some of your quality assurances.
I will. You know, it's been a long time since somebody said they didn't have touch tone, but that's a great point. I will check on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Charles and Mr. Tim. All right. Anybody else have any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, do we have any other business? If not, without objection, wait a minute. Commissioner Colwell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to congratulate Commissioner Powell on the having the Motor Bella, I believe it is, come to Pontiac. This year's version, I guess, of the auto show. So that's an awesome development for Pontiac. Should bring lots of economic development there for you. So I just wanted to point that out and say congrats.
Thank you. And just for clarity, it's a feature portion of the auto show. It is not the entire auto show. So I've been diffusing that. I've been clearing that up today, but thank you. And yes, I am excited. I do know
black tie? No black tie?
No. We're having discussion. We're just trying to see how COVID's going, but I have been in contact with the owner of it. And I was just waiting for them to drop the secret. So yes, I'm excited. And I hope you all will plan to attend. And of course, I will try to see if I can assist with that so that my commissioners get to attend the event.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. It does sound really fun. It's fun to plan a new party when we've all been stuck in our houses forever. So
yes.
All right. If there is no other business to come before the board, I will declare this meeting adjourned at 12:38.
Yay,
Thank you,
Gwen,
everyone.
your first one.
My first one.